Yo, it's Guido. Welcome to Tactics Talk, your one-stop shop for World of Tanks. Everything you need is here on this YouTube channel. You never have to go anywhere else. That's trying out a new intro. How was that? I don't think that was very good. I don't think I'm using that one. But here we are with Bogey from Clan WC TNT in his Churchill 1 Tier 5 British heavy tank. The much maligned, I would say, much maligned Churchill 1. You ever notice the British tanks have great names? Minus maybe like the Churchill, Crusader, the Centurion. Even the Tortoise is kind of a cool name. It's very descriptive of what that tank is. But Bogey sent this Churchill game. He ends up with a really great result on this. So I watch him like, all right, let's check out this awesome game. It was very interesting how we got there. So we're going to talk about that as we go. He comes down to the city in Fisherman's Bay. Is that what we're here? What is this place? Fisherman's Bay, spawned into the south, and he works into the city. A couple years back, the city is where it was at. Pretty much the city determined this map, but the map's changed a little bit, the gameplay has changed a little bit, and the city's not nearly as important as it used to be. He gets, four of them down there, himself and some others. This is low tier, so a lot of pew-pew guns, not a whole lot of hit points based on the damage that the guns do, even though they're low. Relatively low damage guns, you can disappear pretty quickly, even in a heavy at tier 5. And that's one of the reasons Wargaming is going to increase the hit points of the lower tiers to make the games last a little longer, at least as far as making all the hit points go away. But Bogey moves down into the city, and I mentioned the whole thing about the city because really the fight happens, at least the most important one, in my opinion, is over on the west side of the map. But you often find heavies and big TDs, the assault TDs and such will go down here. Bogey pushes down that road, and there's probably somebody looking at him in those bushes that he was staring at right there. And his team is already down 3. His team's down 3. We're messing around here. He has an SARL kind of coming around beside him on the left, and he starts to react over there. But we're still kind of futzing around, and we shoot into a bush right there and looking for a way to do some damage. A 3485 actually takes somebody out, but then this T50-2 gets in behind us. And what I would say about this Bogey, as I've been talking, is sort of kind of just randomly wandering around, at least until you start messing with this T50-2 who got by you. Probably a good idea not to drive across out into the open right there from behind those bushes, because there are several tanks down there that are going to shoot you if they see you. So now we're going to flex back towards the T50-2. And I'm almost saying, that T50-2 is really pretty much out of your reach at this point, right? He's raging around, and then we go here and we turn around. We get lit, I'm assuming by somebody up top right there. And we have fired, I think, once into a bush. We are down 7-2, and we're in the back of the city. So you understand what I'm saying here? We're really just... There's no plan that I can see. It's very reactive. The good news is that you have preserved hit points and haven't obviously YOLO'd forward and died like it looks like a majority of your team has managed to do. But look what's going on over there on the west side. Team's getting rolled up over there. You're getting surrounded from all sides. And finally we sort of move up into a position where we can help. So I kind of like going up here to this position to begin with. This tank is a reasonable side scraper at this tier. The KV-1's probably going to, with a little gold, be able to go through your turret, because one of the problems with this tank is it's got some flat plate armor, even though it's fairly thick. With a little number 2 push, a lot of things can pen it. But a lot of these tier 4s will actually have a hard time even with gold, so it's a mixed bag. And all of a sudden we find... And you were wandering out kind of back towards the cap. I think you were looking at the west side, but you had to remember that there were plenty of guys over there. And I don't know how that happened, but nice job with that shot. You see you're knocking down the... That's not a bad idea, getting rid of those posts, because they can be a big pain in the rear. Now there's a Grant behind you. This is mini-map awareness right here. All of a sudden, oops, there he is. And then you see him. And we push in to get this Grant. This is a nice little sequence here. That's exactly right. You track him. He either doesn't have a kit or he doesn't use it. I don't know why. I think you're auto-aimed right there. Yeah, there you go. Definitely be shooting into that front part of it to keep him tracked. Don't let him fix that track. Because one of the strengths of this particular tank is the speed at which it fires. And this is pretty funny. You get yourself actually stuck into the wall here. I've done this before. This is painful. In a second, you're going to try to get out. And we're like, oh, geez. Sort of stuck, trying to figure out how to get off this wall. There we go. Now, for everyone who's watching at home, you're probably thinking, well, that's the end of it for our hero. I mean, he's finally sort of got into the fight at the end, but man, surely he's just going to get swarmed and taken out. But let's find out how Bogey ends up handling this. I would have pushed straight in and got rid of that KV-1 as soon as possible. I like the care with which you're doing it to some extent, but he's got to go. And finally, he's able to figure out how to... Oh, he shoots HE, so never mind. He doesn't figure much out other than firing HE. Then the Hetzer shows up. He puts a big hit on you. And then he just stands in. Nice job with the little move. That's something you should... There you go. Yep, just try to spoil the shot. Even though he got that last one in, you took a shot at spoiling the shot. You get tracked, and then the other thing I will say here is fix your gunner, my friend. You got to watch that. You've got a repair kit or a med kit in the case of a gunner. The artillery's still trying to take shots at you. Finds the 40 TP. I would have let that zoom in a little bit more there just to make sure he goes away. There you go. Nice job. We've got it down to 10 to 12. One of the reasons you're having a little trouble shooting is your gunner's dead. Now, this is a fairly accurate gun, but this is crunch time right here, so there's no reason to try to save a kit or whatever. It may just purely be a case of you didn't see it. And we're heading back to cap. This is pretty much our only play at this point. We've got 2 of them on there. T-37 is watching your back to some extent. There's only 4 or 5 of them, counting Artie, but 4 of them that can move. 2 of them are on cap. The question becomes, where are the other 2? But for the moment, they're not going to come from the top because the 37 is up there. But now he's starting to come off the buildings that are down towards them. Looks like maybe he's got a spot on them, so he's got them lit. Oh, look at that. There's 3 lit now. Got to come up and over. We do have an issue with depression with this gun. And I'm going to be honest, pretty lucky with the way your gunner is that you were able to take both those shots and immediately hit. There's a 1 hit point Panzer IV-H, and we nuke him, and holy cow. Wow. The Panzer IV-H fired AP from the derp gun. You bounced 350 from that shot. Thank goodness he did not pin. I don't know anyone who shoots AP from that gun, but there you go. The RBFM probably should have had you dead to rights. You missed the first one, it looks like, and then he bounces one. And now, oh, and then he gets another one into you. And you're sort of moving, and your gunner's giving you trouble. And is it going to happen? And they already missed. Oh, boy. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Bogey. You got 1,600 damage. You bounced 1,000. You got 32. You're running around with your dead gunner. Maybe he's just asleep. They don't really die in this game, do they? They're just taking a nap. 7 kills. 7 kills. But I have to be honest with you, it's a case of a little bit of better lucky than good. All right, better lucky than good. A little more aggression early on, up in a position to help some of your guys that were fighting the KV-1 and the other guys down here, may have preserved a few of your buddies. But I will say this, once crunch time happened, you went where you had to go, even though it was a bad position to be in, and quite honestly, some of it your own making. But you certainly made the best of it. You'll have to put down in the comments down there why you didn't fix the gunner. I'm assuming you just didn't notice. It's kind of interesting because this particular gun, it wasn't that noticeable that the gunner was dead. You know, sometimes with some of the bigger guns that take a little bit longer to zoom in and already have a big dispersion, it's very obvious when your gunner's dead. You're just looking at that gigantic circle going, holy cow. And that will sometimes make you look down and left and figure out that your gunner's dead. I've done that before. I guess we've beat that dead horse. I'm going to speed this up because I watched this a couple days ago. I don't actually remember where this artillery was. Oh, that's right. He gets on the cap and forces him out. I think this is probably the right move right here. The guy takes a shot. Takes another shot. Looks like the shots are coming from that direction. There he is. Boom. I don't know if I would have moved. I think I would have just let it zoom in and try to get him. I don't think he would have dropped 105 on you. Not from that little artillery, but it's possible. It's possible. Look at that, 1,799. 8 kills. That's a Radley, I believe. Radley Walters. And the poor gunner, poor gunner, didn't even get to play the rest of the game. Hey, man, thanks for sending that in. I think it was a good learning one. It was a great result. It was a good game. Well done. I think there was quite a few things, especially early on, that you could have done a little bit better as far as getting in there and supporting the team a little bit further up. Try to get in there and work on that KV1 when you had friends around to do so. That would have definitely gone a little better for you. The good news for your team is that 40TP actually went to the west side and did not come into the city, so you're really only facing the KV1 and some of his buddies in there as tier 5s in there, as opposed to having to mess around with the tier 6. Your 3045, I think, was down with you as well. So if you'd have supported him between you and the 3045M, it would have been pretty easy to clean up what was there in town. So, you know, this is my problem with people who are learning the game and becoming, not my problem, but something that can be learned from people who are learning the game and being very careful. You know, because we kind of go through a phase of rush out and die when we're brand new because it's a tank game and tanks are cool and all that stuff. And then we pull back and we're very pensive, very careful, trying to husband our hit points and not get wiped out, because it's pretty easy to get wiped out. And now it's the time for you to start learning to be a little bit more aggressive, pushing a little bit more, obviously without overextending. And if you looked at that map, if you go back and look at that map on this one, you had a lot of buddies up there fighting, and you should have been up there probably helping them out a little bit more. But you really pulled it out at the end, man. Thanks for sending this in. I do appreciate it, and we will see you.